Okay, everybody, welcome to the pre-match press conference for the second game of the Canadian Shield, the All Whites versus Ukraine. We're joined by head coach Darren Bazeley and midfielder Joe Bell. So what we'll do is I'll start off with an opening question and then hand over to the floor to ask any other questions. Baze, reflecting on the game against Ivory Coast, what are you guys looking to take into this next performance against Ukraine?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I thought it was a really strong performance from us. It's a performance that we've felt has been coming over the last year, so that was good. So we learned a little bit about ourselves in that game, and we've done a good review, and the players went into recovery and had a bit of free time yesterday afternoon, which was nice. Now we're looking forward to the next game. It's a different challenge, strong team. Obviously a very European-based team with some good players. It'll be a different challenge, but looking forward to the game.
And Joe, what are your reflections on that Ivory Coast game?
Yeah, we were really happy. We think we took some steps forward from a players group that we were really happy with. But we all recognise that for us it's preparation for the World Cup, and we're going to have to put two good performances back to back if we want to achieve our goal, which is to get out of the group. So yeah, it's going to be another really good opportunity for us against Ukraine.
Cool. Any questions?
Darren, I saw some of your players on TV yesterday. A word on, I know you guys weren't part of that group that went out and watched Ryan Fox win the Canadian Golf Open, but the guys who did must have come back in sort of buzzing. And what does it mean to sort of see other Kiwis sort of achieving on the world stage and it all sort of rubbing off on each other?
What Ryan did was amazing, and it's great to see. We've got a lot of golfers in the group that follow the golf, so I think it was a great opportunity. On day after a game, we go through a pretty good process with recoveries, so that they spent all morning, going through a recovery process with the guys, and they had an opportunity to go and follow the final round, and Ryan being there doing so well, I think it was great. They were very well looked after, which was nice, and got themselves on the TV, which was cool. And I think that's part of our culture, following wherever we are in the world, finding and following Kiwis, and connecting. It's a big part of what we try and do, is connecting. So it was a good day yesterday.
On the game tomorrow, you just give an update on Callum McCall, obviously not injured, and are there any other sort of injury or fitness concerns? Yeah,
so Callum's having a scan today. He's obviously got a hamstring. We don't know the extent of that yet, but at this stage he won't take part in the next game. But apart from that, everybody else has come through really well.
Obviously we saw Chris Wood only came off the bench for 10 minutes. What can you say about what his role might be tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm constantly having conversations with Chris. Chris, he wants to play, and he's so proud to represent. Similar to the first game in regards to he'll definitely be on the pitch. For how long and at what stage at this year, we're not sure yet.
Darren, just now you've had a chance to maybe look back at the tape and review things. What has stood out to you about what the team did well, and on the flip side not so well on Saturday? Yeah,
a lot of good things. I thought with the ball, we build up, and our progression was very good in our own half, and we looked very safe and controlled in possession. I think there's definitely work-ons getting into the opposition half and consistently creating goal-scoring chances, which we weren't able to do regularly within the game. But I also felt like it was that type of game where it was tight. They didn't create too many chances against us. I think defensively, we showed a side that it's been coming, where we looked really strong and compact, and we also got into some good pressing moments, and I thought we managed the game pretty well late in the second half, and changed our shape a little bit and managed the game pretty well. I felt like we defended at times really strongly. The young centre backs in regards to Finn Sermon and Tyler Bindon were outstanding, but across the pitch it was a real good team effort. Everybody contributed to keeping a clean sheet against the African champions, which was amazing.
Joe, how would you sort of sum up the defensive effort, from your position at the base of midfield? What stood out about, what you were doing, what guys around you were doing, but also the guys sort of behind you?
Yeah, I think, what Baze touched on, I think we felt pretty controlled coming out from the back. I think, one of the things that we were focused on, especially going into half-time, was trying to progress up the pitch slightly further. So I think that's something we're going to try to continue in Ukraine. And, I think the game was, posed some really good challenges for us, quite different with the last 20 minutes where we were trying to, hold on to that 1-0 lead and experience that. So, I think, like I said at the start, we made some steps forward in many aspects of the game that we wanted to.
one of the players, I can't remember if it was Eli or Finn, they sort of touched on, so one of the challenges for this team is, you can be really good in position early, but once you start having to put the work in on defence, perhaps sometimes the fatigue starts to get at you in position. And is that something you're sort of familiar with, and I guess, how do you sort of find that challenge?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a natural challenge for all teams when, you get slightly more defensive. It's hard to get the numbers going forward. And I think you get that with different personnel, obviously with Woodsy, or, for parts of the game it was with Costa as well. So I think, I don't think that's specific to us. I think that's a challenge that faces all teams when they get a little bit more defensive holding on to a lead. So, it's something that we were happy to work through, and obviously brought up some points that we want to work on in the small chances we get to train together, but also in games. So maybe that's something that comes up again against Ukraine, but we'll just have to see.
How are you sort of finding, I guess, that midfield partnership with you and Marco? And then, I guess, how does it change at all when it's you and Alex and then Marco pushes forward, which we've seen now, a couple of times in these sort of games against teams from around the world?
Yeah, I think, from a personal standpoint, I have a really fantastic relationship with Marco, and his performances speak for themselves. He's a fantastic player, so I think it's really easy to play in the midfield with him. But I think one of the strengths of our team is the depth of our personnel. I think you can play all the midfielders that are in the squad in there, and they're going to do a fantastic job. And of course, it changes slightly whether you're playing with Roof or Sarpreet or Marco, and even Garbs is going to job in the midfield as well. So there's obviously changes depending on their personal strengths, but I think we have such a strong connection in the group and understanding that we quickly meld back into how we want to play together.
Joe, just to ask you about club life. Things are going pretty well with Viking at the moment. What's been, I guess, the key to that success this season, and how are you feeling about, I guess, what you've got to go back to once this week's over?
It's obviously a balance for footballers to balance national stuff and club level. So right now I'm pretty focused on being here with the team and the game tomorrow. But our club has been going well, and hoping to continue that momentum. And we've had a strong start to the season, but it's going to be a long year and a lot of games, and really excited for what's to come.
If you think back 6 years ago, before that 2019 Under-20 World Cup, which is where a lot of there's a lot of players in this team that sort of came together for the first time. Then I remember, before that tournament, you were full of confidence about what New Zealand could do on the world stage. I think on Wednesday it's 1 year out from a World Cup that the All Whites are going to. I guess you've had a lot in your football career since then. How has your view sort of, I guess, evolved, or in terms of what you can see how New Zealand fits into the wider world football landscape? I mean, you were full of confidence back then. I can't imagine it's changed, but you've seen a lot in the last 6 years.
No, absolutely. We've taken so many steps forward, and of course it takes time to make those developments, but that inherent feeling that we're moving in the right direction, that's the most important. And definitely a lot of confidence back then. If anything, I have more confidence now, because when you're playing with players like Finn Sermon and Tyler Binden, you recognise that we've got development pathways that are producing top quality players that are now playing in the top level in Europe. So I think the ambition for us as a group is extremely high, and we're starting to build that confidence that we can play against top opposition and get results. And that's the recognition that when we're playing in the World Cup we're going to need to, and that's the step forward. So still a lot of confidence, if anything, a little bit more. So
I guess,
Last question.
Joe, I guess you touched on younger guys. You're only 25, right?
26.
26. But to see those younger guys come like Finn, Tyler, Marco, Matt, does it feel like players of your generation have really sort of, I guess, not taking control, but are owning what it means to be an All White? This team is since you first came into it 6 years ago, in terms of who's sort of at the core, it's definitely evolved.
I think we've been really fortunate to have I'm not going to say this generation, but they've been a part of the All Whites for a long time. So we've been through a lot of experiences, both ups and downs. So I think I agree with you, but coming more into the All Whites. But I think again, one of our biggest strengths is the balance that we have between the squad. We've got experienced older players like Woodsy and Boxy and Tommy that really lead the group, and then you have the middle group and also the younger boys. And I think that provides a lot of strength to the group off the pitch, but of course on the pitch too. So I think we're really lucky to have such fantastic boys in the squad.
Darren, who's the best golfer in the team?
Best golfer?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not me, that's for sure.
Right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're in that middle group now, Joe, aren't you?